Hi guys, today in Love's Lakes we are going to be making Father's Day rocks. These can be easily made and they're perfect for Father's Day. So let's get started. First off, you're going to need a rock. It can be any rock, any size. It's whatever you want. Secondly, you'll need googly eyes. They can be any size. It doesn't really matter. You'll also need black paint, white paint, and a color of your choice. And I'm going to use yellow. You don't have to use yellow because, as you see, I've used blue here. But today I'm going to use yellow. And you're also going to need something to put your paint on. Like I have a palette here that I'm going to be putting my paint on. And then lastly, you need a paintbrush, or I'm going to use this dot print here. All right. So first off, with your chosen color, which mine is yellow, you're gonna squirt it onto your plate or your palette or whatever you have. So let me do that quick. All right, so I have my yellow here. And then you are going to take your paintbrush or my dot thing, and I'm gonna dip it in the paint. And I am going to coat my rock in paint. And this might take a little bit of time, so I'm gonna skip this part, so then you'll see it when it's all yellow. All right, so this might take a few coats, so I just finished my first coat. Depends on how dark your rock you picked. And as you can see, my hands got a little messy, so I'm gonna have to clean it off. So now we can just wait a little bit for it to dry, and then we can start our second coat. This might help if you have like a blow dryer or a handheld fan so that you can kind of blow onto it, you know. So then you can kind of blow on it, you know, and it might dry faster, but this will help. And then make sure to flip it over and do this too, so that they can both equally get dry before you start the second coat. All right, now that it's dry, you may or may not need to pour more paint. So in my case, I do. So let me just quickly pour some paint over here. And then you can take your little dipper or paintbrush, and then you can start painting again. I'm just kind of dabbing it, like as you see, and then kind of smoothing it out like this. And you can tell already how much brighter it is. So depending on how bright this is, I may or may not need to do a third coat. All right, because I do not want to get my hands dirty, I'm just gonna dry this quick. One moment. There we go. It does help if you do this one side at a time. So even if it does take a longer time, your hands aren't getting as dirty. Alright, so I did do another layer. I did not do the bottom side though, so I'm just kind of trying to speed the process up by focusing on one side. So I did 3 coats so far on this side, and you can tell how bright it is. So I suggest maybe doing 3 coats to make it look as bright as this, but if you prefer to, you don't have to. And so, once again, I'm kind of drawing this to make it go a little faster. And it is still a little wet, but that's okay because on your 3rd coat, you're going to take your googly eyes. They can be any size, or you can have 1 or 2. I'm just going to do 1, and while the paint is wet, it'll stick on so you don't have to use glue. So I'm just going to place my eye on here. Alright, so that didn't work. My paint was a little bit too dry, so I'm going to patch it up. And I'm going to try again. Alright, I'm just going to let that sit for a while now. So while it dries, you can go ahead. I am not doing the bottom for you guys to see the bottom of it because to make this video a little bit shorter, but make sure to do the bottom too. So then I'm going to fast forward this so that you don't have to watch it dry. Remember that this is your creation and for your father, so make sure that you don't have to copy mine and you can do any color that you want and that you can add as many eyes as you want. It could be 1, it could be 4, it could be just 2. Remember, this is yours. Alright, so this is dry enough. So one thing that I forgot is that you're gonna need something with an edge that you can apply something with. I'm using a bamboo kebab stick right here that has a pointy end. It doesn't have to be pointy, it could be round, but something smaller like this. So now that it is pretty dry for the most part, I am going to pour some black paint doesn't have to be a lot because black isn't going to be in this a whole lot. And then I'm also going to pour some white. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my stick into the black, get it around a bit, rub it around a bit so that I have some paint on here. And then very carefully I'm gonna kind of dab it on. And this process might take a little bit longer, but at least it is something. So now what you're gonna do is create the smile of the monster. So what I'm gonna do is an open mouth. I'll outline it in a minute. But you could do whatever you like. Like for example, this one just has a grin. This one I'm doing a full on smile. So then you can just keep doing this and grabbing more and just dabbing it. And then you're gonna cover the whole, if you're doing this type of smile, you're gonna cover the whole inside. With black. And then as soon as this dries, so you're gonna do the whole grain and then you're gonna cover this whole thing black. And we're gonna let this dry for a little bit before the next step. So let's begin the drying. Once again, I'm going to use a fan. You can do whatever you want. Now because this paint job is a little bit thicker, this might take a little bit longer to dry than the rock because this is thicker. And next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the kebab here and I'm gonna dip it in white, so I'm also partially drying it, and I'm gonna make some teeth. But if you wanted to, you could grab some red and you could make a tongue, or you could just leave it like this. Alright, so you'll know when it's completely dry when you see this. So can you see how there's a big blob right here? That is still wet. But over here in this flat spot, that means it's dry. So once you see no blobs like this, or no like shiny dots, that means that it is dry. So just in case you don't want to touch it, that is one way you can tell. So mine still needs a little bit of time. Alright, so I still have a little bit of a wet spot, but I think I could avoid it, so I can start with my teeth. So we're gonna dip the dry stick into the white, and then you are going to go on your monster and make a little V shape. And I'm gonna do 4 of these. So really carefully you can dab this on. To make these teeth. And you can add as many teeth as you want. And you don't even have to add teeth if you want. You can add a tongue. Or you didn't even have to do this style at all. You could do something like this. Alright, so I'm gonna have to wait a tad bit longer because I still have a little blob about right there, like right here. So I'm just gonna wait for that to dry and then I can show you the finished product. Alright, so I'm gonna do the last tooth. And made it a little bit, I added a little bit too much paint. That's okay. Can just make a point at the end. And there we go, there's your monster. Remember that you don't have to do mine. It can be anything, but here is 2 examples. I hope you got a good Father's Day idea from this, and we hope to see you at my next video.